Hey there again, geometry students. We've done translations, we've done reflections. Let's take a look at rotation. So the first one is rotation in 90 degrees. We have some point, x comma y. When we rotate it in 90 degrees, we get negative y comma x. That's our first rule. For a rotation in 180 degrees, we have some point, x comma y. After we rotate it in 180 degrees, it turns to negative x, negative y. And for the third one, a rotation in 270 degrees, we have some point, x comma y, and when we rotate it, we get y comma negative x. So those are our three rules that'll get us through all the rotation problems we're going to be looking at. So let's see it in action. So this one works the same way as the reflections one. You'll see one example in using all three rules. The example says, find the image of the point 4 comma negative 6 under a rotation of, and our first rotation is 90 degrees. Now let's look at our steps. Step 1 says, write our pre-image point. Remember, pre-image is the first point they give you. In this case, is what I underlined in red, right here. So the pre-image is 4 comma negative 6. Now it's a rotation in 90 degrees, so we go back up to our sheet. Step 2 says you're going to write the rule. So rotation in 90 degrees is negative y comma x. So up here, y, negative y comma x. All right? So you write it right next to that word image. And now we actually translate the point. So it says to flip them and negate the first. So we're going to flip our points, negative 6 comma 4. But it says to negate it. That makes it positive. So our final answer is 6 comma 4 for 90 degrees. Let's look at 180 degrees. So once again, our pre-image, that's the point they gave us before we do a transformation. It was 4 comma negative 6. So I'm going to write it right here, 4 comma negative 6. Now it says write the rule. The rule for 180 degrees is, go back up to your sheet, and it says negative x comma negative y. So that means we're going to keep our numbers in the same place, but we have to negate them both. So we'll start with 4. That becomes a negative 4. And here we negate the negative 6. So negate the negative 6. 2 negatives make a positive. So your final answer is negative 4 comma 6. And now let's look at 270 degrees, the last one. Once again, our pre-image was 4 comma negative 6, so we write that here. What is the rule for 270 degrees? We go back up here. 270 says y comma negative x. So we write the rule up here. And so our y coordinate comes first. Remember, this is our y, that's our x. So the y coordinate comes first. We don't do anything to it, right? It stays the same. And the x is going to come second, and we're going to negate it. So how do we negate 4? Well, it becomes negative 4. So your final answer is negative 6 comma negative 4. And that's all you need to know for rotation.